Hi model railway fans, and welcome back to Dean Park. Coming up in this video, I transform the scene at this corner of the layout, I take delivery of a pre-production sample of the forthcoming Class 60 from Accurascale, and I share highlights of the 2024 Cupar Model Rail exhibition. However, before we start, I'd just like to remind you guys of how you can support the channel. Well, the easiest way to do that is to simply hit the subscribe button. I'm still getting a lot of views from non-subscribers, and it's brilliant to get these views, but if you like what you see, then please do subscribe. In the meantime, enjoy the video. I'm now starting to build up the layers of ground cover from this bare painted landscape to get ready to add in the static grass. Right, that's the base layer now dried. As you can see, it was made up from postcrete, earth and soil scatters, and some coarse turfs. What I've done now is I've placed the gas towers in the positions that they're going to be in, and I've tentatively put some palisade fencing along the front there to get an idea where it's going to go, and that'll help me determine the position of the red gravel chips that I'm going to put down now. I don't want a sharp edge between the red chips and the undergrowth and the line of the fence, so I've continued the undergrowth beyond the fence line into the actual gas tower's property, so then I can feather the chips in to make it look a little bit more natural, and obviously when you add some weeds and small bushes and undergrowth on both sides of the fence, it looks a little bit more authentic. Right, that's the gravel now dry. You'll notice that I've put the towers in position, and there's some pipe work in between the two towers there, which I'll go over shortly. When I was gluing the chips down in the previous clip, you'll notice that I had circular base and a semicircular base for where the two towers are sitting. These are spare bases I had from other kits from this gas tower, so that was quite handy because I managed to glue around it and then do the scatter, lift the templates, and it left a perfect footprint for these two gas towers to sit perfectly in. With these gas towers you do have a circular base, and I was kind of in between two options here. I could have taken the gravel over that circular base, but I chose not to, because what I want to be able to do is remove the gas towers if I need to do any maintenance or remove the back scenes or do anything like that. So if I'd actually covered the base of the gas tower, it would have stuck the towers in position and made it very difficult for me to remove them. So it was kind of with a maintenance mind to the future that I decided to go for this option, which was scatter the gravel around the base and not on top of it. It's now time to install the fence along the front edge of the gas tower area to mark the boundary, and for that I'll just be using my drill with a small drill bit to match the size of the peg from the West Hill Wagon Works fencing, and then I'll pop it in position permanently with a little bit of Rocket Rapid. The pipework here is from Goodwood Scenics, and it's a mix of straight pipes which are not 3D printed, and all the details such as the curved pipes and the bases and the flanges, and these are 3D printed by Goodwood Scenics. They come in different diameters, so you can have different obviously styles of pipework. I've gone for the widest here for the gas installation, but again it's up to you what you're going to be using it for. They do a variety of different types and diameters. They're not fixed in position yet. There will be a kind of bracket that goes across from the base, so you will see the mounting holes there to permanently fit the pipes in position. I'll do that once I've done all the other scenic work. The pipes are painted in XF80 from Tamiya, and then I've used the Tamiya weathering masters to tone down any areas where weathering may be accumulating on the pipes, such as the tops and around the flanges. The camera's lighting it a little bit just now, but it is fairly weathered on the tops and around all the joins. The fencing that I'm going to use along the gas tower area is this palisade fencing, and this is from the West Hill Wagon Works range. I've just primed and then painted this piece up with Humbrol number 64, which is a light grey from an aerosol. And before I put it on the layout, I'm going to give it a quick weathering with some Tamiya weathering masters, just to tone down the clean grey finish. In the range from West Hill you also get the palisade fencing gates, and these come in two long or double gates and two small gates in this pack of 4. And for the first time ever with regard to this type of fencing, you also get angle packs, and this is a 22 degree and a 45 degree pack, and that's ideal for putting on an embankment or a less than level surface. All these can be obtained at the West Hill Wagon Works website. The link to that is in the description below. When you're installing fencing, it's important to get it right, and as you saw in the previous clip there, what I was doing is I was marking out a hole, drilling it, then testing it with a short piece of fence, and then using that bit of fence to mark out the next hole, and so on and so on. That ensures that you get the fence straight down the line that you want. As you can see, I'm using a steel rule there just to keep it in the line that I needed it, and to get it as straight as I possibly can. The good thing about this fencing from West Hill Wagon Works, it's got a little bit of flex in it. You could actually have a curved fence, but palisade fencing tended to be straight sections, so curves weren't really the order of the day. It's more angular and straight fencing that this type is ideal for. I'm fairly happy with that so far. I've just got this little part to fit in at the end there to enclose the area. What I will say is when you're installing fencing, don't just use a drill bit that's just big enough for the actual peg to go in. Choose a bigger drill bit, gives you a little bit of flexibility in movement, and it stops you forcing the fence in and possibly snapping the peg. The next stage for this area is adding the static grass. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a mixture of 4 and 6mm grasses, perhaps using the 6 near the line side, and then 4 further up the embankment, where it will be interchanged with areas of bush and some trees. The fence will be taken out, and I'll put cocktail sticks in the holes so I know where the fence line is, and that'll allow me to get the static grass right up to the edge of the fence and creeping in to the red chipped area as well. product that I'm using more extensively on this embankment than I have on other parts of the layout is this polyfibre from Woodland Scenics. Now at the right hand side of the shot you can see some polyfibre that I've just teased out into the rough shape that I want the low-lying undergrowth and shrubbery to cover. At the left hand side you'll see a completed one with Gauge Master medium green leaves. I'm going to take you through how I do it. It's really simple, it's quite fun to kind of manipulate the polyfibre to get from the right hand side to the finished article on the left. Right, what I've got here is the bundle of polyfibre. If you unravel it or unroll it, you get kind of this thin sheeting. What you need to do is cut a rough size of the area that you want to cover. Try not to go straight edged on it, which is quite difficult. With a pair of scissors I can I can admit, but there we go. Okay, so what I've got so far is something that's quite geometric in some areas. I want to get rid of that. So what I do is I either, again, just take the scissors and kind of snip it randomly, or what I like to do is just tease and tear bits off certain parts of this polyfiber. You can also tease it that way as well to get some height into your bush. So there I've kind of now got a shape of something that I can work with and add some leaves to it. What you can do is really just add the leaves to it now, and you can see here I've got one that's got green polyfiber with some leaves that I've just used some layering spray from WWS and sprinkled some Gauge Master medium green leaves on there. It holds it fairly well. However, what I'm going to do, like the one I've got on the Embankment, is I'm going to take this bit of polyfiber and I'm going to give it a light spray in Humbrol Brown number 29 from an aerosol, and that will just give it a more of a woody, twiggy colouring, and then I can go ahead and add some of the leaves on top of that. This bit here has had a light passing of the Humbrol 29 through an aerosol, which is a kind of earth colour, and this part here has had the Gauge Master medium green leaves sprinkled onto the polyfiber. To get them to stick, I use some WWS layering spray, or you could use some scenic cement through a little kind of spray squishies bottle, just to kind of dampen the top of the polyfiber before sprinkling the leaves on. Shake off the excess and repeat until you get the depth of leaf and foliage cover that you require. Then it really is up to you how you manipulate it. Tease it a little bit further to get it to mould round the part of the landscape that you want. You can see the bit on the left has got more leaf coverage, the bit at the right a bit more twiggy and bracken look with less of the leaf coverage on it. Now you can see as well I've continued it up the fence, so it's kind of not just sitting at the bottom of the fence, it's kind of encroaching onto the man-made structure. And I'll be putting a little bit at the other side of the fence as well to give the impression that it's crept through and is now starting to grow in the grounds of the gas tower area. As you can see here, I've now started building up the embankment. I'm working from photographs here of an embankment in the 1980s. There was less undergrowth nearer the railway edge back in those days because the permanent way tended to keep a little bit better care of the line side. Further away from the rail, it's gone a bit wild. When you're working on the embankment, you've got to look at era specific photographs. For example, back in the steam era, the embankments were pretty well kept, whereas current day, the undergrowth is right up to the side of the rail. It really has gone pretty wild. Different shades are used as well, just to make it less mundane, and different sizes and shapes and heights. Adds a little bit of a variety. The tones that I've used are an olive green here, a dark green from Gauge Master, and that's their mid green there. I've also made use of some woodland scenics and foliage that's already got coarse turf attached to it. This here, and there's a bit at the back there, and this is light green, and the code for that is F51. You get it in a kind of packet. Very similar to the polyfiber. In fact, it really is polyfiber in all essence. You just tease it out to the shape you want, a couple of dabs underneath of PVA, and it sticks to the baseboard or the undergrowth underneath it. It does tend to grab onto the static grass naturally anyways. It's not going anywhere, so it doesn't need a lot of glue to hold it in position. I've got some woodland scenics fine leaf foliage in there as well, just to add a little bit of colour variety. I really now feel that this corner is part of the layout. I'm pleased with what I managed to do with the gas towers there, with the overground piping, the security fencing, the different tones and layers of undergrowth. It just ties in the back scene to the rail side, and it really does tie in the stepped wall with the rest of the scenery now as well. There'll be more work on this area into the autumn, with some line side detail and the installation of the Pico OHLE mast system along with wires. I'll then work my way towards the camera with the scenic area between the incline track and the upper main line, before ballasting the main line and adding in some West Hill Wagonworks OHLE system. So as you can see, there's still lots to do at this corner of the layout. In the next update, I'll be bringing you more information about how I've transformed this area at the factory with the installation of some corrugated fencing. I've still got some work to do along the bottom of the fencing with regard to scenics, but I'll be sharing this in the next update. Just a couple of days ago, I was kindly sent this pre-production first deco sample of the forthcoming Accurascale Class 60 to test around Dean Park. In this video I'll just show you some running shots of the model, but in a future video I'll go into a little bit more detail as to what's coming down the track with regard to this model. I'd like to thank Accurascale for reaching out and sending me this model to play with at Dean Park.
Stagger, are they?
Well, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed watching the highlights from the Cupar Model Rail Show, as well as seeing the transformation at one corner of my layout. It's also good to see the Accurascale Class 60 on the layout, and I'll bring you a dedicated video of that very soon. In the meantime, enjoy your modelling, stay safe, and cheers for now.